Look here. So we have discussed what is financial statements. What is financial statements? So 1 balance sheet, 2 P&L, 3 cash flow statements, 4 notes to accounts, and 5 statement of changes in equity. Okay, so this is financial statements. Who prepares financial statements? Financial statements are prepared by management. Who uses financial statements? Many users. Who are all the users? Shareholders, board of directors, creditors, customers, banks, government, employees, financial institutions, society, etc. So many people are using our financial statements. So now the question is, financial statements are prepared by management and used by many users. This is the fact. Financial statements are prepared by the management and they are used by many users. Now the question comes, how users trust the financial statements? How users trust the financial statements prepared by management? This is the question. For this question, answer is audit. For this question, answer is audit. Okay? Now, audit, write down, all of you write down, audit increases the credibility and acceptability. What is this? Audit increases the credibility and acceptability of financial statements. That means audited financial statements are accepted more. That means audited financial statements are accepted more. Okay, you call it bank or you call it government or you call it any user of financial statements, audited financial statements are accepted more. Okay, then write down in the next para. The shareholder, the users of financial statements, need an assurance. The users of financial statements need an assurance that the users of financial statements need an assurance that A, the financial statements are properly prepared. So what is the meaning of properly prepared? Properly prepared means prepared according to acceptable financial reporting framework. Acceptable financial reporting framework. What is the meaning of acceptable financial reporting framework? Financial reporting framework means two things. One, statutory requirements. What is the first one? Statutory requirements. For example, in case of company, Companies Act. In case of a company, Companies Act. And accounting standards. So what is the meaning of financial statements prepared properly? Financial statements prepared properly means they should be prepared in accordance with statutory requirements, in accordance with law. They should be prepared in accordance with law, and they should be prepared in compliance with accounting standards. So when can you say that financial statements are properly prepared? If they comply with law, if they comply with accounting standards, then you can say yes, financial statements are properly prepared. Now the question is, shareholders need not be, financially literate people. Shareholder can be engineer, shareholder can be doctor, or shareholder can be any other person. Shareholder can be any other person. Now what happens if shareholders do not know how to prepare financial statements? They are dependent on the auditor. They are asking the auditor, dear auditor, we don't know how financial statements are to be prepared, but you know how financial statements are to be prepared. Whether management has prepared financial statements accordingly, auditor gives that assurance. This is point number one. Point number two, the users also need an assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. That the financial statements are free from material misstatements. Now you need to understand three things here. What is misstatement? What is material misstatement? Why misstatements occur? So basically the user of financial statement needs an assurance that one, the financial statements are prepared in accordance with financial reporting framework, and two, that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. So to understand the first point, you need to understand what is acceptable financial reporting framework. That already I told you, accounting standards and legal compliances. Here the second one is, when you are speaking about that the financial statements are free from material misstatements, that means what? That means there are no material misstatements in financial statements. Auditor must tell that there are no material misstatements in the financial statements. So to understand this, you need to answer three questions. First, what is a misstatement? Second, what is a material misstatement? Third, why misstatements occur? Now I'll start with what you know. You already know misstatements occur because of two reasons. Misstatements occur because of two reasons. One, error. What is the first one? Error. What is the second one? Fraud. Misstatements occur because of two reasons. One is error. Second one is fraud. Okay. Now, what is material misstatement? Concept of materiality. The concept of materiality. That means significant, big. So what is the meaning of material? Material means significant item. Material means big item. Now what is misstatement? Misstatement is, so many students do not understand the concept of misstatement. Misstatement is the difference. Misstatement is the difference in the amount. Who's that? Afreed, can you please keep your mobile on mute? Vishweshwar, can you please keep your mobile on mute? It is creating some noise. Matam Vishweshwar, please keep your mobile on mute. Okay, so is the difference, what is misstatement? Misstatement is the difference in the amount. Okay, or disclosure or presentation. Disclosure or presentation of an event or a transaction. What is this? If there is a difference in the amount or disclosure or presentation of an event or transaction between what it should be and what it is. Okay, so I'll give you one small example. X Limited has done research and development activity and spent 100 crores. I'm giving you one numeric example. X Limited spent 100 crores on research and development. As per accounting standard 26, research cost is to be charged to P&L. Development cost can be capitalized into intangible asset. Okay, so X Limited has spent 100 crore rupees on research and development. So research cost as per accounting standard 26 should be charged to P&L. Development cost can be capitalized, correct? Development cost can be capitalized. Okay, now research cost is, say for example 30 crores. Development cost is, say for example 70 crores. Okay, now imagine X Limited recognized an intangible asset. X Limited recognized an intangible asset. Option A at 70 crores. Option B at 100 crores. So in this situation, there is no misstatement. Why? What is to be done and what is done are same. What is to be done? As per accounting standard 26, 70 crores can be capitalized. What you have done? You capitalize 70 crores only. So this is correct. There is no misstatement. But when you capitalize 100 crores, now come to this question, what the amount should be? As per accounting standard 26, 70 crores. What it is? As per financial statements, it is 100 crores. So there is a difference. Then there is a misstatement. So what the amount should be? What the amount is? If they are same, there is no misstatement. So what is misstatement? Misstatement is basically the difference between what the amount should be and what the amount is. Again, I am writing this for your benefit. What is misstatement? What is misstatement? So misstatement is, what is misstatement? Misstatement is the difference between two things. What are they? What the amount should be. So this is governed by accounting standards or law. What the amount is. This is given by management in financial statements. So in the example, as per accounting standard 26, intangible asset can be 70 crores. So in financial statements, if intangible asset is 70 crores, then there is no misstatement. What is that? In financial statements, if the intangible asset is recognized at 70 crores, there is no misstatement because management has done exactly what they are supposed to do. What is the problem? Instead of 70 crores, they have shown 100 crores. So this and this are not same. What it should be and what it is are not same. This is called a misstatement. This is a misstatement now. So financial statements are misstated by 30 crores. Financial statements are misstated by 30 crores. Auditor will tell these kind of things to the shareholder. So what is this? Auditor will tell all these kind of things to the shareholder. Okay, so if you remember, where did we start our discussion? Why the audit is required? There are financial statements, management prepared financial statements, management has given financial statements to shareholders and the other users of the financial statement. Now one valid question the shareholder or any user is asking, dear management, you carried on business, you run the company, you complied with law, you prepared books of account, you prepared financial statements, and you are giving that to me. Why should I trust you? Why should I trust you? So, shareholder or user of financial statements has two issues. Point number one, I doubt whether the financial statements are prepared properly. I doubt whether there are any material misstatements in the financial statements. Now, the auditor comes from the external environment. That means not related to the organization. Auditor cannot be part of management. Auditor cannot be part of board of directors. Auditor cannot be part of those charged with governance. Auditor cannot be employee of the organization. That is why we call them external auditors, independent auditors. So one independent external qualified auditor comes and then he verifies the books of account and then he says there are no material misstatements. Financial statements are prepared properly. Now everybody is happy. Everybody is happy. Now the question is whether the financial statements are materially misstated. There you need to understand three questions. What are the questions? Question number one, what is misstatement? I have explained you with examples. When can I say that it is material misstatements? Do you remember the concept of materiality? Long back you might have seen the concept of materiality in your plus 1, plus 2 or in your CA foundation or even in CA, IPCC and intermediate also. In accounting, concept of materiality comes in accounting standard 1. Do you remember accounting standard 1? Material items are the items. The omission or erroneous presentation. Material items are the items. The omission or erroneous presentation will influence the economic decisions of the users of financial statements. So, an item is considered to be material. So, what is this? An item is considered to be material. If its omission, all of you write down, if its omission or erroneous presentation, if its omission or erroneous presentation will result, okay, erroneous presentation will result in a change, will result in a change or will influence the economic decisions of users of financial statements. An item is considered to be material if its omission or erroneous presentation will result or will influence the economic decision of users of financial statement. So, auditor is asking these questions. 1. Is there a misstatement? Is there a misstatement? The answer can be yes or the answer can be no. If the answer is no, you are very happy because there is no misstatement, there are no frauds, there are no errors. Then if the answer is yes, he is asking the second question, question number 2. Is it a material misstatement? That means, is it big? Is it a material misstatement? Is it a material misstatement? Now again the answer can be yes or no. If the answer is no, again the auditor is happy. Though there is a mistake, it can be very trivial, petty, small mistake. It can be trivial, petty, small mistake, no problem. When cumulatively they are, small mistakes are happening so many times, then we look at collective materiality at an overall level. That we'll discuss later. So now misstatement happened. Is it material misstatement? If the answer is no, the auditor is happy. But if it is a material misstatement, then third one is, what is the reason for this material misstatement? Now the question is, in our example, intangible asset should be 70 crores, but intangible asset is shown at 100 crores. Intangible asset should be 70 crores. Intangible asset is shown at 100 crores. Is it misstatement? Yes. Is it material misstatement? Yes. Now the question is, what is the reason? This can be due to two reasons. One, error. Two, fraud. So the finance manager or the accountant is not a professionally qualified guy. He doesn't know accounting standard 26, or he did not understand the transaction properly. By mistake, he wrote 100 rupees instead of 70 rupees. By mistake. Now the auditor told him that, boss, what you have done in financial statements is wrong. Then the accounts manager said, sir, I am so sorry. This is not my intention to do this. I will rectify. He passed a rectification journal entry. Auditor will inform the higher level management, but this will be dropped. You will not report this in audit report. You will not put this in audit report. Why? There is an accounting error which is rectified. Let it be. If an error is rectified, auditor will not make it a big issue. Remember one thing. If an error is rectified, auditor will not make it a big issue. Maybe they need training. Auditor might say, your accountants need training. 30 crore rupees of mistakes they are doing. You will be arrested tomorrow if this comes out. So you need training. And if it is fraud, what is the difference between error and fraud? An error is unintentional. A fraud is intentional or deliberate wrongdoing. Intentional or deliberate wrongdoing. For what you are doing this? To get undue advantage, to deceive others, to be unlawful. So why are you doing a fraud? To get undue advantage over the assets. You want to manipulate assets, or you want to deceive others, or you want to be unlawful. These are the frauds. So these frauds can be again of two types. Frauds can be, one, fraudulent financial reporting. What is the first one? Fraudulent financial reporting. Second one, misappropriation of assets. So you are misusing the assets of the organization. Fraudulent financial reporting leads to window dressing. Misappropriation of assets leads to embezzlement of cash or usage of organizational resources by employees or board of directors or managers for personal gain. For personal gain. It is something like, office phone is given to you only for telecalling purpose. You are calling your girlfriend. That is also a fraud. A small fraud, but that is also a fraud. Organization has given bike to you. Bike. So why the bike is given to you? You are a marketing executive. So the manager told that, dear Mr. A, you can use this bike for client visits. You can go sell the goods and come. So this bike is given by organization to you for that purpose. You are using that for personal purpose. So maybe you might say, Pawan sir, these are small frauds. Yes, even if the fraud is a small fraud, auditor will leave it. Auditor will leave it, but he will inform the management. Okay, but there can be there can be manipulation of cash. There can be misappropriation of cash. There can be, some stocks are there in stores, some raw materials are there or finished goods are there. They are pilfered, stolen, theft. All these are also frauds. So frauds are of two types. First one is financial fraud. Second one is operating fraud. First one is financial fraud, window dressing, manipulation. So this is manipulation of accounts, forgery, manipulations, omissions, manipulation of accounts. This leads to window dressing. Second one, auditor is not very serious about it. If you are not using, organization asset properly, if it is relating to the operations, if it is not affecting the financial statements, auditor will not look at it. Okay. For example, a person who is selling, items, 100 items are to be sold. Say, for example, it is a cake. You are selling cakes. One cake you ate. Auditor is not really concerned about that kind of things. Okay. But if it is cash is stolen, auditor is, yes, he is concerned. So what is the reason for misstatement? The reason for misstatement can be an error. The reason for misstatement can be a fraud. This is a big discussion. Here we will see standard on auditing 240. In new syllabus, this is a full chapter. Fraud and the responsibility of the auditor in the context of fraud is a separate chapter. 5th chapter is there completely for this. In old syllabus, it is included in the first chapter. But both of you, whether you are old syllabus student or new syllabus student, you need to understand and you need to read SCA 240, fraud and the responsibility of the auditor in the context of, in the situation of fraud. That we'll see later. So now, again try to understand the summary. I have told so many things, putting it short, brief. Point number 1. Financial statements means balance sheet, P&L, cash flow statement, statement of changes in equity, and notes to accounts. Is this clear? 2. Financial statements are prepared by the management and presented to the users, especially shareholders. 3. Shareholders who are using financial statements need assurance about two things. Shareholders who are using financial statements need an assurance about two things. So what are the two assurances you want? First assurance is that the financial statements are properly prepared. What is the first one? That the financial statements are properly prepared. Point number 1. Point number 2, that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. That the financial statements are free from material misstatements. That the financial statements are free from material misstatements. Then I have told you what is the meaning of financial statements prepared properly as per financial reporting framework. That means in compliance with law, in compliance with accounting standards. Then what is meant by misstatement? Misstatement is the difference in the amount or the manner in which an item is to be presented or disclosed. How it is to be done and what is done. What should be done, what is done. What should be the amount, what is the amount. Where it should be presented, where it is presented. Where it should be disclosed, where it is disclosed. How it is to be disclosed and how it is disclosed. So, the difference between what to do and what is being done. Misstatement is the difference between what to do and what is being done. So, if you have done exactly what you are supposed to do, there is no misstatement. If there is a misstatement, auditor is concerned about few things. Is the misstatement material? Is it a material misstatement? And what is the reason for misstatement? What is the reason for misstatement? So, there are two broad reasons. What are they? One is an error. Second one is a fraud. Okay. Errors, there are so many types of errors, like how you might have studied in your +1, +2 also, I am very sure. Error of omission, error of omission, error of commission, principal error, error of principal, and compensating errors. So basics, you know, you are going back to basics and you are reading error of omission, error of commission, error of principle, errors that reveal themselves, errors that are difficult to identify, errors that affect trial balance, errors that do not affect trial balance. All this nonsense, 10th class, 11th class accounts will be there. That is one question. We'll see about that later. Frauds is very, very, very important and continuously tested. Frauds are continuously tested in your exams also. Okay, so you understand this? So write down in your notes. 1. Definition of auditing. Put the heading definition of auditing. Under that write down auditing is a systematic and independent examination. Auditing is a systematic and independent examination. Please note down the notes. Auditing is a systematic and independent examination of data, comma, statements, comma, records, statements, comma, records, comma, operations, and financial performance, comma, financial performance, comma, operating performance, financial performance, comma, operating performance of an enterprise, for a stated purpose, of an enterprise for a stated purpose, of an enterprise for a stated purpose, of an enterprise for a stated purpose. Okay. Stated purpose, put it in box. Guys, all of you put stated purpose in a box. Put stated purpose in a box. Okay. Below that write down, this is the objective of audit. Stated purpose, from this arrow mark down, this is the objective of audit. What is the stated purpose? This is the objective of audit. Now objective, put it in box. Objective, put it in box. From that, 2 arrow marks down. Objective, put it in box, and from that draw 2 arrow marks down. 2 arrow marks down. Okay, from that left side, the primary objective. Right side, secondary objective. Primary objective, secondary objective. Primary objective, arrow mark down, to express an opinion on the financial statements. To express an opinion on the financial statements. Again arrow mark down, there you write down true and fair view. Arrow mark down, true and fair view. Secondary objective, to see that the financial statements are not materially, or you can write down to see that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. Due to, again 2 arrow marks down, error fraud. What is the primary objective? To express an opinion on the financial statements. Arrow mark down, true and fair view. Secondary objective, arrow mark down, to see that the financial statements are free from material misstatements due to errors, frauds. Okay. Next point. In any auditing situation, the auditor, next line, A, collects the evidence, B, evaluates the evidence, C, forms an opinion, D, expresses his opinion on financial statements. Okay, this is discussed in SCA 5 series. How the audit evidence is to be obtained is given in SCA 5 series. This is given in SCA 7 series. SCA 5 series will tell you how to collect the evidence, how to document the evidence, what are various types of evidence, what are various sources of evidence, okay, how to preserve the evidence. All these things are there in 5 series. So how to collect evidence, how to evaluate evidence, that is one part. Next part is how to form an opinion and how to express opinion. This is given in SCA 7 series. Both these are very, 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 very important. Both these are very, very important. Okay, you understand this? So guys, we are discussing the basics of audit. So I have shown you the first question on the screen, and there is one phrase called stated purpose. What is the stated purpose? It is nothing but the objective. What is the objective? There are two objectives. Primary objective is there, secondary objective is there. What is primary objective? Expression of opinion on financial statements. The primary objective of audit is expression of opinion on financial statements. And then comes, there is one secondary objective also. What is secondary objective? To see that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. To see that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. How material misstatements happen in financial statements? Due to frauds, due to errors. Okay, so in any auditing situation, what the auditor does here, they have given it clearly. In any auditing situation, the auditor collects the evidence, look here, collects the evidence, evaluates the evidence, formulates the judgment, communicates the judgment. So we have completed this question thoroughly. Through this question, I have explained you 2-3 other questions also. Okay, so are we clear so far? Can we go to next topic? From that, 2 arrow marks down. From that, 2 arrow marks down. Left side, professional qualities. These are also known as ethical requirements. These are also known as ethical requirements. Okay, here you can remember the acronym IOCPP, Indian Oil Corporation Petrol Pump. 1. I for integrity. 2. O for objectivity. 3. C for confidentiality. 4. P for professional judgment. Professional judgment. 5 for professional skill and competence. Okay, plus you can write down one more, professional skepticism. Professional skepticism. Okay, write down professional skepticism. Under that, write down professional skepticism refers to two things. Professional skepticism refers to two things. A, critical evaluation of evidence. Critical evaluation of evidence and questioning mind. Critical evaluation of evidence and questioning mind. Second one is B, being alert to fraud risk factors. Being alert to fraud risk factors. Is there a possibility of fraud in this situation? You should be able to understand, is there a possibility of fraud? So there are certain factors called fraud risk factors that we study in SCA 240. Okay, so we will read fraud risk factors in details, but you should be alert to fraud risk factors. And whenever one paper is given to you, you should not be blindfold. Closing your eyes, you should never accept any audit evidence. So while collecting audit evidence, while evaluating the reliability and relevance, sufficiency of audit evidence, you should have an attitude of critical evaluation. You should have an attitude of questioning mind. This is what we call inquiry. So you inquire a lot. Even when you read SCA 500, many standards speak about audit inquiries. Auditor inquires a lot. He has a questioning mind. So critical evaluation of evidence and questioning mind. So these are ethical requirements. These are professional qualities or ethical requirements. Then comes personal qualities. Then comes personal qualities and knowledge-based requirements. Personal qualities and knowledge-based requirements. Okay, so this side write down personal qualities. Then this side write down knowledge-based requirements. Personal qualities, you can write down personal qualities: cautious, tact, patience, common sense. Cautious, tact, patience, common sense. Okay, communication skills, people management skills, interpersonal and intrapersonal skills. All these things you can write. These are personal qualities. So you should be very cautious, you should have tactice, you should have patience, you should have common sense, you should have communication skills, you should have people management skills, you should have coordination skills, you should have interpersonal, intrapersonal skills. All these things are required. Personal qualities. Knowledge based qualities, expert level knowledge. In expert level knowledge in accounting, auditing, law, taxation, financial management, information systems. Economy. Okay, various direct tax laws, indirect tax laws, auditing, accounting. This is nothing but your syllabus. Okay, you can simply write down your syllabus. He should be expert in accounting, auditing, law, taxation, financial management, information systems, economy. He should have, ability to understand the economy. You understand? These are the qualities of the auditor. This is yet another question. So, are we clear? You understand this? So, according to Accounting Standard 1, Accounting Standard 1 says, accounting policy is SAP plus MAP. What is SAP? SAP is specific accounting principle plus the manner, the method in which those accounting principles are applied. So if you look at it, specific accounting principle, I am giving you one very good example so that you will never forget in your life what is accounting policy. First one I said, inventory should be valued at lower of cost or NRV. This is accounting principle. How can you apply that principle to calculate the cost? NRV is market value. You will calculate, expected sale price minus selling expenses. That is net realizable value. So when you calculate cost, how the cost of inventory consumption is to be calculated? Should I use FIFO? Should I use, retail method? Should I use standard costing method? Should I use weighted average method? Should I use any other method? This is the method of applying that principle. So both put together, it is called accounting policy. So accounting standard 1 says accounting policies selection is to be done by management. And this should give true and fair view of financial statements. So management should choose an accounting policy which gives a true and fair view to the financial statements. Otherwise, it amounts to manipulation. So even by applying wrong accounting policies also, you can do fraud. Even by applying wrong accounting policies also, you can do fraud. This is very dangerous area. Okay, and this is point number 1. Point number 2. Accounting policies are to be applied consistently. So from year to year, last year you applied FIFO. This year also you are supposed to apply FIFO only unless a change is justified. That is given in accounting standard 5. Okay. So I wanted to give you a brief understanding about accounting standard 1, disclosure of accounting policies. So I told you point number 1, accounting policy refers to SAP plus MAP. Point number 2, whenever the management is choosing accounting policy, the primary criteria to choose is a true and fair view. And accounting policies are to be applied consistently. Understand this?